Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the May 5th meeting of the Human Services Transportation Advisory Committee of the Capital Region Transportation Council. I thought we could do introductions to get started. So let's start here in the room. Mark, would you prefer?
Sure. Mark Stiglione, Regional Planning Commission.
Carrie Ward with the Transportation Council.
Judy DeHoda Taylor, Saratoga County Office for the Aging.
Angelina Searles, Town of Colony Senior Resource Department.
My name is Leah Rye. I'm new to the CRTC. I'm the administrative specialist and I'm co-hosting the meeting, and I apologize for the technical difficulties.
And online, Celia has joined online, but she's in the room. Bob?
Bob O'Connell. I'm part of the board of Captain Community Human Services and on several of their subcommittees, including social services, seniors services, transportation, etc.
Great, thank you. Diane?
Hi, Diane Conroy Lasavita, Colony Senior Service Centers.
Thank you. Brian Monaco? Adam?
Can you hear me? Sorry, my service is a little rough here. Brian Monaco, Center for Disability Services.
Great, thank you. Adam?
Hi, Transportation Council. I'm a transportation planner.
Donna?
I am Donna Stressel from Sunnyview Rehabilitation Hospital.
Thank you. Ethan Townsend?
Ethan Townsend, Transportation Council.
Ethan Warren?
Ethan Warren, CDTA.
Mary?
I'm Mary Foreman from Schenectady County Senior Long-Term Care.
Thank you. Steve? Marina?
Hi, Steve Farina with the New York State DOT Public Transportation Bureau.
Great, thank you. And Tufik?
Yeah, Tawfiq Zahan, New York State Department of Transportation, Public Transportation Bureau. Thank you.
Thank you. And William Fitzgerald?
Hey, New York State Department of Transportation, Region 1 Planning, on behalf of Audrey Bernison.
Oh, okay, great, thank you.
Yep.
Peggy just joined.
Yeah, and Peggy?
Hi, Peggy Osborne from the Town of Bethlehem Senior Services.
Great. Thank you, everyone. The next thing I had on the agenda was acceptance of minutes, which is a holdover from what I used to have on the agenda because we're actually sending our minutes up the chain before our next meeting. So they've already been posted to the website and everything. But if you do at any time notice something on there that you think is incorrect, just let me know and I can change them and then change them on the website as well. So the remainder of the meeting is updates that either I have or that I thought somebody who might be on the meeting might want to say something about, although the two people I was notably expecting I don't see here yet. So I'll just run through those, but if you have anything that you want to add or questions that you have, particularly on the 53, 10, and 11, since we have a few staff here from NISTOT, please, feel free to interrupt. So firstly, the group that is calling them the Saratoga Transportation Task Force is holding a Saratoga Transportation Summit on June 10th this year in the afternoon from 1 to 4:30 p.m. So I just wanted to let you all know about that. I don't have the agenda with me, but if you are providing services in Sarasota County, it may be of interest to you. Okay, the next thing was the Albany Rensselaer Community Health Prioritization. So for this one, it's particularly relevant if you're in Albany or Rensselaer counties. This is the effort, it's led by Healthy Capital District Initiative, I believe, where there's county health departments are working with the main hospitals to come up with prioritize community health things that they're going to work on over the next few years. So they're having 2 meetings as part of this series. One of them, the first one was like them presenting data, survey data from providers, as well as county health records data in terms of, change over time in certain measures related to different types of health problems that people have. And then the second meeting, which is the one coming up tomorrow, at that meeting, they're gonna be voting on basically what they should be prioritizing over the next few years. So it is a virtual meeting and an in-person meeting, so you can, I'm not sure how the voting piece is gonna work virtually, but you can join virtually and I believe participate, and then in person, they want you to register, but the in-person one is in the New Albany area. So I did join the first one. It was a lot of data, but it was interesting. And I am planning to try to make the second one as well. Next, I have the NISDOT solicitation for FTA Section 5311 formula grants. I was able to check in with staff about this last week and was advised that the anticipated awards announcement is going to be made in June. I know there had been a little bit of interest from community partners in this one this year, and I believe CDTA had been working on a grant application as well. And then for 5310, I did confirm that they're still expecting the next round of the solicitation to be released this fall. So I don't know what the deadline will be, but that's when we would, be able to send out that there's a solicitation and we'd be able to put together grant applications again for that program. Any questions about 5310 existing projects? Okay. Another thing that came up for us in the office is that NISDOT did publish their updated group transit asset management plan that a lot of 5310 grantees use in October of 2024. And so the agenda I sent out has a link to that document on their website. The most integrated setting coordinating council still exists as far as I know. They did cancel. I had been planning on going to their last meeting and they canceled it shortly before the meeting. The next one is May 20th, which is still, I didn't check today. As of last week, it was still listed on their website. May 20th, 1 to 3, it's at the Empire State Plaza. Kind of on that same topic, the Olmsted Plan update, which you may have heard about, I feel like a couple of years ago now, that kind of seemed to have been put on hold a little bit. There were some higher level staffing changes involved there. They at some point had put out a request for people to participate in like work groups from it, and I responded to it. I think they had a transportation one that they were planning to put together. So I did actually hear back on that towards the end of April, and they advised that they would be sending out invitations to the working group meetings starting April 25th, which I still haven't received. So while there's nothing publicly facing on their websites that I can see in terms of like the update process and movement on it, but just based on the working group stuff, it does seem like they may be starting to get back into work on that. And then, so master plan for aging status. I was just gonna put this out to the group because I keep checking on it. And the last update I had received from somewhere was that the final document was to be public in April. And so I did send in a request to the general thing on their website because I don't have any other better contact for them on that, and I haven't heard back. So does anybody know if that's still underway?
No idea.
I think everything got put on hold with the budget, frankly. I haven't seen anything on it.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, hi there. Sorry, I was a little late. Yeah, we haven't heard anything either on that.
Yeah, okay. The Aging Concerns Unite Us, it's the New York State Association of Area Agencies on Aging, I think, is putting that on. Conference will be June 24th to 25th. I believe at the Old Desmond. The link to the conference is on the agenda. Katie was hoping to be able to join us today to talk a little bit more about their agenda. But it seems like she hasn't joined. But there was a couple of things that she had heard about that she wanted to just bring to the attention of the group. You know, see if there's any discussion about it. So one of them was the use of that there are some area agencies on aging that are using AmeriCorps volunteers as drivers. And anticipating issues with reimbursements for their time and or mileage as part of that. So is there anybody here who is using AmeriCorps volunteers and anticipating issues with reimbursements?
We use the RSVP program, which is part of AmeriCorps for our van, but we don't reimburse the drivers. They're all volunteers. We have our own van.
So you own the van?
Yeah.
And you don't pay them their time and
No, they're all volunteers.
and you're paying for the
Yep.
gas separately, yeah. Anyone else?
We have our own staff and our own fleet of vehicles.
Okay. The second thing was that it sounds like there are area agencies on aging that provide transportation to people in areas where there is also some level of transit service available, and that they are beginning to deny rides you know, at times when the transit service is operating on the grounds that those people could be using the public transit system to save funds and just providing the rides to people who don't have another option in anticipation of future funding cuts and just trying to make their money stretch longer in time. So again, curious if people here are also starting to do that.
This is Mary Foreman from Schenectady County. We took on our own transportation program in the fall of 2023. And at that time, we didn't have a break in service, thanks goodness. And at that time, and since that time, we've been trying to get folks on CDTA Star if they're eligible, and if they were eligible and they could pay for it, then we would go there first. And then because we had no idea how much services and just where these contracts were going to go. And this is something we've kept up with, and it's been working. We did it before too, to refer folks to Star.
Right. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Next thing I have on the agenda is Americans with Disabilities Act transition plan related stuff. So the Rensselaer, Mansville, and Clifton Park, those all have links on the agenda. That's because there's drafts to all of them. And so you can review them at those locations. The Wilton one is being presented at the Wilton Town Board meeting this Thursday. And then which will open a 30-day public comment period. And then because they moved this meeting back a week, they won't be able to adopt it until the July meeting, but the comment period is still just going to be open for 30 days. Manans, the comment period ended already, but that's posted. Rensselaer already adopted theirs, and Clifton Park also recently adopted theirs in the last few weeks. In our last solicitation here at the Transportation Council for upcoming planning work, Albany County applied to us, so we will be working with Albany County this year. It's only for sidewalks on Albany County roadways, and if Albany County owns a pedestrian crossing signal, then it would be evaluation of that. But it's not all roadways and all sidewalks within Albany County. It's just jurisdiction of Albany County. So it's county roads, basically.
Carrie, this is Denise. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just had a quick question. You said that Rensselaer adopted the plan?
Yes.
Oh, good. Do you know when they did that? Was that recent? I haven't seen anything.
It was not particularly recent.
Oh, okay. I might have missed it, maybe.
I can send you an email after the meeting. I want to say it might have been like January, February range.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Mary, have you been wanting to say something as well?
I just had a question about how, and maybe, sorry, simple question. How do you find out, is there a map of county roads versus city roads that you can, like a general map you can get on?
Yes.
Okay. How do you find that?
The way I do it is I Google, if anybody at NISDOT wants to help me out here, I usually Google NISDOT, like roadway classification. NISDOT has a map up on their website that shows state roads, county roads, local roads. And so it's not like a pretty map, but it helps to clarify. Mary, I can send you an email after the meeting with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, and the next thing I have is the Capital Region Vision Zero Safety Action Plan. We were supposed to be done that by now, but we are behind a few months, so we're extending to September. We are looking at releasing in a virtual meeting format some roadway redesign concepts for Saratoga Springs, Troy, Watervliet, Green Island, and Albany in the next couple of months. And then I don't even yet have the full draft, but we're planning to hold public meetings on the full draft, which will include prioritized project locations and then longer term planned out types of projects that should be funded to help reduce fatal and serious injury crashes in the capital region. So we'll be holding public meetings on that overall kind of funding program in June. So one of the things that was required as part of that grant, at least in the funding round that we received, we received funding under the first round of that grant program from the Federal Department of Transportation. One of the things was that we had to have a voted upon goal of eliminating fatal and serious injury crashes eventually, like a date in the future that's unnamed, with a robust reduction in those things by a certain date, or saying that you're just going to eliminate fatal and serious injury crashes by some date. So in looking at the data trends for fatal crashes, which we have over a good amount of time, and the data trends for serious injury crashes, which we have over a less long amount of time, because the definitions of serious injuries have changed. We are looking at proposing elimination of fatal crashes by 2050 and a 50% reduction in serious injuries by 2050. So part of the idea there is, if you eliminate a fatal crash, the crash might still happen, but it may be a serious injury crash or an injury crash instead of a fatal crash. And just looking at the data trends, it looked highly impossible to completely eliminate the serious injuries as well by 2050. So it's a little bit more of a realistic goal to eliminate fatal by 2050 and 50% serious injuries by 2050. Next thing I have on the agenda is news around the table. We'll start with Angelina. Thanks.
No, nothing.
Nothing. Mark?
CDRPC released a report back in February, taking a look at the capital region's aging population, demographics, housing, and cost of care.
Ooh, lots of care.
So is that for the capital region as a whole?
The four counties.
Where do I find that?
It's on our website under data news on the homepage.
Love it.
All right, and then moving to online, Darcy, do you have any updates for us?
Well, Rensselaer County is still waiting on 4 passenger vans. We allocated the funds from unmet needs. So they're still on the assembly line. So we're eager to get those on the road. So that's exciting.
And so those will be used for the aging services?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Brian? We'll skip Brian for now.
Hey,
Denise?
can you guys hear me?
Sure. Hi, Brian. Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, my internet is very spotty here, so I'm kind of in and out right now. So I apologize.
No problem.
So I'm sorry, I didn't hear the thing before.
So we were at the part of the agenda where where the news around the table. So I was asking if there was anything that you wanted to share from the Center for Disability Services.
Oh, no, at this point, we're just working on our next 5310 grant. We're working with Steve to do a pilot program for another bus, but other than that, just trying to replace our aging fleet at this point.
Yeah. Thank you. Denise?
No, I don't really have anything at this time. Unless anybody wants to come to a fundraiser next week, we have our dessert spectacular at the Franklin Plaza. So it's lots of desserts. But
Great. What day and time is that?
it's 5:30 to 8:30, Tuesday, May 13th. It's a lot.
Great.
It's a fun event. So just putting it out there. It's on our website.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna?
We'll be kicking off our car fit season shortly, and we're going to start off with a technician training on June 25th at Colony Senior Center with an event on the 26th. So if anyone's ever been dying to get involved in car fit and become a trained technician, we'd love to have you take the training session and help out at the events as we plan them through the summer.
Thank you. Ethan Warren?
Nothing here.
Okay. Mary, anything else from you?
Not from us, but I can certainly vouch for the dessert spectacular.
Speaking. Peggy?
Nothing going extra here. We've just got our notices that, you know, we accepted for the 5310 and gonna start the contract process to get our van, and we're getting a computer system to help track rides.
Great. Diane?
Some updates, some vehicles. We got a grant, not 5310, but another grant. We were able to buy 3 Subaru Foresters, which have worked out wonderfully. And then our last 5310 round, we were expecting those 3 buses in August, and they showed up in about a half an hour notice. So we have 6 new vehicles to our fleet, which is great because we as well have a very aging fleet. And then we are doing a fundraiser this Friday. It's our annual fashion show, and the proceeds go towards transportation. And the event is sold out with 280 attendees coming. So big event.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all
Cool.
good.
Bob?
Yeah, a small subcommittee on transportation. We've been just looking at trying to expand options in southern Saratoga County. And in the middle of that, one of the options that has been existing for the past several years is the Flex program. And I'm not sure how many of you are aware of the Flex, which is run by CDTA. And certainly Ethan could explain more of it. But recently they had a couple of public meetings in anticipation of changing the system from what has been a curb-to-curb ride to a point-to-point ride. We've never been able to find out how many older residents use the program, but our feeling is that going to point is going backwards rather than forward. Certainly, pun intended, that it's in the wrong direction. And it's something that is anticipated to be in effect during by the end of this month, actually. It only runs basically from Mechanicville to Clifton Park. And I mean, it has a great value in supporting people who need it for employment purposes, but I think it's minimal use for elderly, and now it's going in the wrong direction. So to me, it's a regression, and we're very concerned about that.
I can talk a little bit about that if there's time for that, or if there's a
Yeah.
desire.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Ethan, can you also summarize maybe the Guilderland Colony one as well?
Sure. So at the end of this month, CDTA is going to be rolling out changes to its Flex service, which is a microtransit service. We have two zones. First one is in Colony. The second one is in Southern Saratoga, covering Clifton Park, Mechanicville, and Stillwater. Like Bob said, one of the changes is we're going from basically picking you up anywhere inside the zone to designating points to be picked up at, and points to be dropped off at. There's more changes in the Flex Colony zone. It's turning into the Flex Guilderland zone, and we're taking resources and putting that into the Route 117. But since Bob is talking about Southern Saratoga, I won't go too far into that. We're trying to find the right balance between convenience and operability for CDTA. If you've heard the term, there's no mission without the margin. It's basically just that Flex is extremely expensive to operate and can't continue to exist as it is without making some compromises. Whether or not this is the right kind of compromise, we'll find out as we work on it, but this is what we're trying. We definitely appreciate that there are some accessibility issues in Southern Saratoga. There's places where there's no sidewalks, and that definitely won't work for everybody. But we know as well that with Flex, the long wait times that people often experience also don't work for a lot of people for obvious reasons. So it's kind of a no-win situation, I would say. It's either you wait 2 hours for your pickup, or you have to, or some people can't actually use the service. We're trying to find the right balance. We also talked at that meeting about how, really the ideal thing I think would be that we look at land use in South Saratoga, and that, maybe 30 years from now, there's a development along some sort of a line in Southern Saratoga that we could do a regular fixed route and cover people better that way. And that there would be sidewalks so people can walk safely in the area. But as it is today, it's just kind of a no-win, I think. I think I covered our whole perspective on that. But yeah, I'll take any other questions if people would like.
May I make a comment so that Bob feels better?
Yeah, Judy has a comment.
So the City of Mechanicville senior bus, we have revamped it, and it is working more hours now, and they also set up appointments and schedule the rides. And obviously, Stillwater has a fantastic program through the Stillwater Area Community Center for seniors. I think they still have their 2 vans going, and the need for transportation for seniors has declined in both those areas over the past 2 to 3 months. So I don't know how many, I heard the same thing about the Flex bus, that they would wait for hours. And the Mechanicville City bus just used to do a loop, but we've expanded that. They do shopping days to Walmart and other things. So I think that's going in the right direction, Bob.
Yeah, but there's still limits.
There's gonna be limits, but no matter what you do, nobody can afford to do a program that's free for all of you. But it's definitely a forward thinking, we're moving forward and we're helping more of the seniors in that area. And then
And that's
the
what
city has
our-
been right on board with us, which is great.
Our committee is trying to expand that because there still are some limitations. There are some people that are not being served. So, no, I think that's great, Judy, what's currently going on, but that's not the only thing. So anyway,
Thanks, Bob. Rafik? Or Steve? William, do you have any updates you want to provide?
Nope, thank you for having me. No updates from us at Region 1 Planning.
Thank you for joining us. All right, did I miss anyone?
This is Steve Farina. Just want to mention, like Brian said, I'm working with the agencies to secure the pilot orders on the new contract, the OGS Plus contract, and hopefully we can get those completed, and then we can start accepting orders for those new lots.
So Steve, the pilot that Brian talked about, so is it like using the new contract of piloting the use of the new contract before it's actually in place?
Yeah, so it's an initial order where we just go through the entire process from start to delivery. And when the vehicle's delivered, we do a one-over on the vehicle, inspect it for compliance with the specifications for the vehicle in the contract. And then if there's any issues, they have to correct them, have the vehicle re-inspected. And then once it finally passes, at that point, it's been approved for subsequent orders.
Thank you. All right, I will throw one last question out to the group, and that is, are there any topics of presentation or presenters that you would like me to try and invite to talk to this group?
This is Diane from Colony. I'm wondering if we could have one of these meetings look at funding sources or opportunities. I'm just kind of throwing it out there, like somebody from the Cabrini Fund, or those foundations that are interested in making sure that seniors stay mobile and transported.
So specifically looking at kind of non-traditional funding.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of us are in that situation where we're just, kind of rubbing some nickels together to keep it all going, because everything, including insurance, is just going through the roof. So it's this balancing act of trying to do as much as you can, but being able to afford to do so.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah. That couple that does business for good, I'm just wondering, would they ever present, or I don't know. There's a lot of, we spend a lot of time writing grants around here, or looking at foundations, or having those conversations about possible, just not necessarily capital expenditures, but actually the programmatic expenses of running transportation.
Great.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah.
This is Denise. I I might have missed the conversation because I was coming from another meeting, so I was late, but I don't know if there have been any updates on any federal impact, of all the executive orders and kind of change in direction in Washington, if there's any impact at all, right now on the state level with funding for programs. Just kind of curious in terms of transportation, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
Somebody from AARP?
To talk about that issue that she's bringing up, or just.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're eliminating ACL, there's all sorts of stuff going on
Right.
at the federal level that could have a huge impact here.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, it's, yeah, thanks, Steve, yes.
I can say, yeah, I can say we haven't experienced any impact at this time.
Right, so we here a little bit more familiar with the federal highway side. I think we deal with it a little bit more frequently than the federal transit, but from your perspective, you're not seeing anything yet in federal transit, like continuing the 5310 and 5311 programs?
No. I'm very new, but yeah, over the last couple months, I haven't noticed any changes or any conversations or anything like that.
Right, that seems to trend with what we're seeing here as well. But there's definitely a lot of changes on non-transportation funding that funds transportation through other agencies, yeah. So point taken, Denise, I'll look into that. Any other ideas on presentation topics? All right, well, thank you, everybody, for joining. I will hold that Monday, August 4th at 2 p.m. meeting time in anticipation of our next meeting, and we'll plan to send out an agenda a week or two prior. Have a good rest of your afternoons.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.